late. Oh, that was amazing. Truly good. My glasses. It's a light to see. Light to see. Luke. Today's January 25th. Luke 19, 1 to 7, 1 to 27. Luke 19, 1 to 27. Jesus and Zacchaeus. Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was one man there named Zacchaeus. He was one of the most influential Jews in the Roman tax collecting business. And he had become very, very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowds. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree beside the road so he could watch from there. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, "Quick, come down, for I must be a guest in your home today." Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to the house in great excitement and joy, but the crowd was displeased. He had gone to be a guest of a notorious sinner, they grumbled. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "I will give half of my wealth to the poor, the Lord. And if I have overcharged people in their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much." Jesus responded, "Salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself to be a son of Abraham. And I, the Son of Man, have come to seek and save those who are like him who are lost." Story of the 10 servants. The crowd was listening to everything Jesus said, and because he was near Jerusalem, he told a story to impress. He told a story to correct the impression that the kingdom of God would be right away. He said, "A nobleman was called to a distant empire to be crowned king and then return. Before he left, he called together 10 servants and gave them 10 pounds of silver to invest for him while he was gone. But his people hated him, and they sent a delegation after him to say they did not want him to be their king. When he returned, the king called the servants to whom he had given the money. He wanted to find out what they had done with the money and what their profits were. The first servant reported a tremendous gain, 10 times as much as the original amount. "Well done," the king exclaimed. "You are a trustworthy servant, and you have been faithful with little I entrusted you. So you will be the governor of 10 cities as your reward." The next servant also reported a good gain, 5 times the original amount. "Well done," said the king. "You can govern over 5 cities." But the third servant came back and only brought back the original amount of money. I said, "I hid it and kept it safe. I was afraid because you are a hard man to deal with, taking what isn't yours and harvesting crops you didn't plant." "You wicked servant," the king roared. "Hard am I? If you knew so much about me, how tough am I? Why didn't you deposit the money so at least get some interest on it?" Then he turned to the others standing by. The king ordered, "Take the money from this servant and give it to the ones who earned the most." "But master," the servant said, that servant already has enough." The king replied, "But those who use well what they are given even more will be given. But from those who are unfaithful, even what little they have will be taken away. And now about these enemies of mine who didn't want me to be their king. Bring them in my presence and execute them right in my presence." Bring them in and execute them right in my presence. That's Luke chapter 19, verses 1 through 27. Now we're going to read Genesis 32 and 33. Jacob sends a gift to Esau. As Jacob and his household started on their way, angels of God came to meet him. When Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, "This is God's camp." So he named the place Manaman. Jacob now sent messengers to his brother Esau in Edom, in the land of Seir. He told them, "Give this message to my master Esau. Humble greetings from your servant Jacob. I have been living with Uncle Laban until recently, and now I have my own oxen, donkeys, sheep, and goats, and many servants, both men and women. I have sent these messengers to inform you of my coming, hoping that you will be friendly to us." The messengers returned with the news that Esau was on his way to meet Jacob. With an army of 400 men, Jacob was terrified at the news. He divided his household, along with the flocks and herds and camels, into two camps. He thought if Esau attacks one group, perhaps the other can escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my grandfather Abraham and my father Isaac, O Lord, you told me to return to my land and to my relatives, and you promised to treat me kindly. I am not worthy of the faithfulness and unfaithful love you have shown to me, your servant. When I left home, I owned nothing except a walking stick, and now my household fills two camps. O Lord, please rescue me from my brother Esau. I'm afraid he is coming to kill me, along with my wives and children. But you promised to treat me kindly and multiply my descendants until they become as numerous as the sands on the seashore, too many to count." Jacob stayed there for the night and prepared a present for Esau: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, 10 male donkeys, and he told his servant to lead them on ahead, each group of animals by itself, separated by a distance in between. He gave these instructions to the men leading the first group: "When you meet Esau, he will ask, 'Where are you going? Whose servants are you? Whose animals are these?' You should reply, 'These belong to your brother. These belong to your servant Jacob. They are a present for his master Esau. He is coming right behind us.'" Jacob gave the same instructions to each of the herdsmen and told them, "You are to all say the same thing to Esau when you see him. Be sure to say, 'Your servant Jacob is right behind us.'" Jacob's plan was to appease Esau with the presents before meeting him face to face. Perhaps Jacob's hoped he would be friendly to us. And the presents were sent on ahead, and Jacob spent the night in the camp. Jacob wrestles with God. But during the night, Jacob got up and sent his 2 wives, 2 concubines, and 11 sons across to the Jabbok River. After they were on the other side, he sent all of his possessions. This left Jacob all alone in the camp, and a man came and wrestled with him until dawn. Then the man saw that he couldn't win the match. He struck Jacob's hip and knocked it out of joint and at the socket. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is dawn." But Jacob panted, "I will not let you go until you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. He replied, "Jacob." "Your name will no longer be Jacob," the man told him. "It is now Israel, because you have struggled with both God and men and have won." "What is your name?" Jacob asked. "Why do you ask?" the man replied. Then he blessed Jacob there. Jacob named that place Peniel, face of God, for he said, "I have seen God's face. I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared." The sun rose and he left Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. That is why even today the people of Israel don't eat meat from near the hip in memory of what happened that night. Jacob and Esau make peace. Then in the distance, Jacob saw Esau coming with 400 men, with his 400 men. Jacob now arranged his family into a column, with his 2 concubines and their children in the front, Leah and her children next to Rachel, and Joseph last. Then Jacob went on ahead. As he approached his brother, he bowed low 7 times before him. Then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him affectionately and kissed him. Both of them were in tears. Then Esau looked at the women and children and asked, "Who are these people with you?" "These are the children God has graciously given me," Jacob replied. Then the concubines came forward with their children and bowed low before him. Next, Leah came with her children, and they bowed down. Finally, Rachel and Joseph came and made their bows. "And what is all these flocks and herds that I met as I came?" Esau asked. Jacob replied, "They are gifts, my lord, to ensure your goodwill." "Brother, I have plenty," Esau had answered. "Keep what you have." "No, please accept them," Jacob said, "for what a relief it is to see your friendly smile. It seems like seeing the smile of God. Please take my gifts, for God has been very generous to me, and I have more than enough." Jacob continued to insist, so Esau finally accepted them. "Well, let's get going. Let's be going," Esau said. "I will stay with you and lead the way." But Jacob replied, "You can see, my lord, that some of the children are very young, and the flocks and herds have their young ones too. If they are driven too hard, they may die. So go on ahead of us. We will follow at our own pace and meet you at Seir." "Well," Esau said, "at least let me leave some of my men to guide you and protect you." "There is no reason for you to be so kind to me," Jacob insisted. So Esau started back to Seir, and that same day, meanwhile, Jacob and his household traveled to Succoth. There he built himself a house and made shelter with his flocks and herds. That's why that place is named Succoth. Then they arrived safely at Shechem in Canaan, and they set up camp just outside the town. Jacob bought the land. "I'm coming." He camped on the front from the family of honor, Shechem's family, for 100 pieces of silver, and there he built an altar called Elo Elorot Israel. All right. Yeah, I'll check that shit out and let you know.
Just take me, because I'm going to run over here, and then I got a doctor's virtual appointment.
Yeah, I got a doctor's appointment too. It's 10 o'clock.
Okay. Half an hour, I got an appointment at 10.
All right, bro. Thanks.
All right, have a good day now.
Okay. Max, watch out. Ooh. All right, Max, we got to finish Psalms 25. Psalms 25. You all right, little dog? Psalms 25. A Psalm of David. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. I trust in you, my God. Don't let me be disgraced, or let my enemies rejoice in my defeat. No one who trusts in you will ever be disgraced. But disgrace comes to those who try to deceive others. Show me the path where I should walk, O Lord. Point out the right road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long I put hope in you. Remember, O Lord, your unfailing love and compassion, which you have shown from long ages past. Forgive the rebellious sin of my youth. Look instead through the eyes of your unfailing love. For you are merciful, O Lord. The Lord is good and does what is right. He shows the proper path to those who go astray. He leads the humble in what is right, teaching them his way. The Lord leads with unfailing love and faithfulness all those who keep his covenant and obey his secrets. For the honor of your name, O Lord, forgive my many sins. Who are those who fear the Lord? He will show them a path. They should show them the path that they should choose. They will live in prosperity, and their children will inherit the promised land. Friendship with the Lord is reserved for those who fear him. With them he shares the secrets of his covenant. My eyes are always looking to the Lord for help. For alone he can rescue me from the traps of my enemies. Turn to me and have mercy on me, for I am alone and in distress. My problems go from bad to worse. Oh, save me from them all. Feel my pain and see my trouble. Forgive all my sins. See how many enemies I have and how viciously they hate me? Protect me. Rescue my life from them. Do not let me be disgraced, for I trust in you. May integrity and honesty protect me, for I put my hope in you. O God, ransom Israel from all its troubles. That was Psalms 25. Amen. Till tomorrow.